Hey, this is Dave at Code 6 Customs. I haven't done a video in a little bit, so here we go. This is a video I wanted to do to show that just because I make it look easy doesn't mean it is easy. I want to show some fails, okay? Because when I first started building watches, it was these. It was basically Seiko mods without the fake Seiko dials. NH movements, and I kind of moved from there because a lot of times mods are cookie cutter. I moved from there into producing what I call antique mods, which is antique pocket watch movements recased as wristwatches. So with the regular mods, you know, a lot of them were kind of standard. This is a 36 millimeter NH35 movement, oyster bracelet, pretty much of a standard mod. So in doing them for a while, I kind of wanted to move on. I started moving into using different movements. So I use hand wind movements, 6498, 6497, mechanical hand wind movements, different cases, different presentations. So I'm always kind of chasing doing different stuff with my regular builds. And in chasing, there are fails. So let me tell you about this one over here. So I want to use this movement very badly. That is a fully functional sky dweller type movement. So it's a fully functional GMT. A lot of times when you see mods that look like that, they're non-functional. So meaning the inner ring doesn't move. The inner ring is what is the GMT function in a sky dweller and in a mod of a sky dweller. So I will get there eventually. But first I want to show you fails, okay? This is my most recent fail. So this is what it will look like, and it will be fully functional. But I want to show you on this. I'm going to point to it with this little pointer here. So right there, that's the stem release on this movement. And if you push it too far, you destroy the keyless works and the movement becomes useless until you fix the keyless works. And I know this, and this is how ETA movements generally work. That's kind of an ETA style. So that's a shame. And in trying to make this happen, fail number one, fail number two, fail number three, fail number four. Now I could go in and I could fix the keyless works, but I don't like breaking down wristwatch movements because they're too small and it's aggravating, and I just prefer to buy a new movement. So I got all the way on this one and destroyed the keyless works. And now I have the fifth or sixth victim ready to go. But I will get that. But that's part of me trying to do things different. I'm trying to use movements that other builders don't use. I'm just trying to do things a little different. So, you know, we have the antique mods, we have trench watches, resto mods, military watches, original Elgins, original trench watches. You know, my regular mods. Everything's looking good. Everything's looking good. Wait a minute. What the fuck? That was running. That was keeping time when I put it away. That is my latest build. That is an aventurine dial. It's a stone dial. Kind of a higher end stone dial. And this is my most recent fail. So what I found with this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful dial. Okay. The thing with this dial is it is thicker than a normal dial. I'm gonna show you in a minute. I'm gonna break this out and I'm gonna show you the thickness of the dial. I'm gonna talk about some of the problems that I had. All right, so I kind of already know what's going on here. The hands are fouling on each other, okay? And I know that just from some of the trials and tribulations I went through when I was building it. So I'm gonna get this thing out and I'm gonna show you some of the things I'm talking about. First thing you have to do, I gotta find that fucking spring bar. I'm gonna curse. This has been an aggravating build. All right, so we're gonna uncase this. And I'm going to show you some of the issues that I had with this. Fucker. All right, first of all, the fit of this movement in this case was not great. So when that happens, you have to use plastic casing rings. Very common in all watches. Very common in even the bigger name watches. So it's not just specific to a built watch. To get this out, we have to open it up, remove the stem. Depress that and pull the stem out. And then we can uncase the movement. All right. So we get that the fuck out of the way. Very aggravating build, I gotta tell you. All right, so now we have this beautiful dial. All right, and let me put my camera back here so we can talk about it a little bit and I can show you what I'm talking about. So this is a great dial. Now it's moving again. And what happened was I unfouled the hands, but the hands are coming into contact with each other. And I know this because I went through a ton of hands trying to get this build right, but if you look at the side, the profile of that dial, that is thick because that's stone. Okay, I'm going to show you a standard dial, if I can. I'll show you the dial I'm going to replace that dial with. So this is a typical standard dial. This is metal. It's very thin. All right? So let me take the hands off of that. What I have to do is I have to put the stem back in, line the hands up, and then stop the second hand. So, stem's back in. I'm just going to line these hands up so I can take them all off in the same shot with a hand puller. All right. I'm still going to try to protect this dial because it's just good practice. But the dial's ruined anyway, and I'll show you in a minute. But I have to dig in real deep to get these hands off. There they are. There they are. And there they are. All right. So when you look at this dial, you could see up close, there are cracks all around that dial. There's a long one over here to the left, going towards 8. There's spider webs. I cracked the shit out of this dial. And the reason is because the dial is thick. And to mount the hands, you have to go on to those posts. So the hour hand post is actually under the surface of the dial, and that's where all the problems started. So I'm going to take this dial off and replace my tools over here so I don't get fucking messy. And I'm cursing because I'm still hot about this, because I ruined the dial, but there was just no other way to work with it. So let me see where we're at here. Dial's so thick, there's just no place to remove the dial. Let me see here. All right, so we're going to get under the plastic casing ring on the movement. I'm going to remove this dial. All right. It goes onto the ring with two dial feet. So hard to do around a camera, and I say that every time I make a video like this, but what a pain in the nuts. All right. And again, I'm not being real careful with that dial because it's ruined. So anyway, you could see that there's a metal layer and then there's a stone layer, and usually we're just dealing with a metal layer. So that's the reason. And when I went to put the hour hand on, maybe I could show you better here. So the very top, there's a small, I don't know, let's call it a tit. Right in the middle, and that is for the seconds hand. Right below that is a smaller section, that's for the minute hand, and then that big fat section, there you go, that's a great shot. So right at the end is the seconds hand, then the small section after that is the minute hand, and then the hour hand is the larger stump. But the larger stump was mostly under the surface of the dial because the dial is so thick. All right. So in order to try to set those hands, I was putting a little too much pressure on it, because I would set the hand and then turn it, and the hand would immediately come off of that stump. And I'm using the wrong terms. I'm a watch builder. I'm not a trained watchmaker, but so I was putting way too much pressure on the hands to try to get them to set on that stump. And I finally did. You saw the watch built. It's a beautiful watch. Beautiful. But also in doing that, I ruined so many hands. So this is my setup here. I have binders over here. Those two binders there are pocket watch hands and dials. And this blue binder is all my regular builds, hands and dials. And everything that says 8200 are appropriate hands for this movement, because it's a Miyota 8285. Miyota movements are every bit as good as the Seiko movements, but they're just a little different. And to do a day-date homage, to get the day and the date in the same spots as they are on the original, that's the movement you have to use. So in trying to set these hands, I went through a bunch of hands. Like these are all, now I'm going to have to put these into a bag marked questionable, because I don't know if I ruined any of these hands. I know I bent a couple. So this is an hour hand, and you can tell. Oh boy, I hope that focuses better. Maybe like that. There you go. The hand part and the tail part are both bent up because I was trying to push that section down to seat it on the hour stump. All right, so that hand is bent. There are so many other hands that I used. Look at all these. And I just couldn't make it happen until I finally found, that one. That's the one that ended up on the watch. And like I said, in doing that, I did all that damage to the dial. So I probably will buy another dial, and I will try to figure out a way to do it and do it right. But for now, this is a dead issue. I can't do this. I'm going to redo the watch with that dial. And I may include a video on that. But again, so far I just wanted to show you that everything doesn't always go smoothly. I put on a good face, but some of these things piss me off. Alright, so I've decided to try to do this build on video. I get very frustrated doing builds on video because the angles and getting the right shot. But I got this movement holder, so I'm going to stick this in here. They help a lot, these movement holders. So what I'm going to do, we're going to take the dial feet and line them up with the holes in that plastic ring, and that's going to center our dial properly. I'm going to bring this up to my face real quick to get it started, because reaching around a camera, or in this case a phone, just absolutely fucking sucks. Alright, so dial's on, it's straight because the movement feet, the dial feet. Alright. As you can see, the day is only half advanced. And that's fine because you can advance it the rest of the way. And basically, with this movement, you turn backwards to change the date, and you turn forwards to change the day. Okay, in second position. So, as you change the hands on the watch, what I need to do is I need to find dead midnight so that I could set the hands at 12, and you can see the date starting to turn over. All right. Starting to turn over, and I just want to go really slow because I want to catch absolute midnight, and there it is. So we want the date to turn over at absolute midnight, and to do that, you go real slow. Now the day changes on these between midnight and 3 o'clock. So day changes over slower than the date. Alright, so to start off with, I'm going to try some of the hands that I used on the original build. Not sure that they got ruined or anything, so they're probably usable hands. So I wound to midnight on there and try to set the hand at midnight. And hands on there. The front is up. The back looks like it's making contact with the dial. If I leave that the way it is, it's not going to be good. I need the tail of that hand to be off the surface of the dial. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to get one of these dial protectors. I'm going to go under the tail gently, if I can. I'm sorry, I had to take that up towards my face, because going around the phone, like I said, it sucks. So I'm going to hold the center down. I'm just going to gently lift up a little bit to try to bend that metal a little bit off the surface of the dial, and I think I did that. I did. So we are at midnight with the hour hand. I'm going to get the minute hand in place, hopefully quickly. And hopefully lined up dead at midnight on the first try. We are in place. If you look, you can see the hour hand and the minute hand do have some space between them. So hopefully they will not foul on each other. We're going to take it once around the dial to make sure we are changing over. You see the day change over, like I said, between 1 and 3 a.m. At 6 o'clock, we are dead straight up and down. At 9, we're at a good right angle. We're just going to take it around the watch one more time. And we're going to see all right, the date changed over slightly after midnight. I'm good with it. If it ends up bothering me, I'll go back and fix it, but I'm already fucking bothered with this build. So I'm just going to attempt to remain unbothered. All right, so the seconds hand is going to be a bitch to do on camera. It's a bitch to do off camera sometimes, but really tough when I'm not at a good angle. Yeah, one shot. Bing, bang, boom. Okay, maybe it's not as tough as I wanted to make it seem. So, I want to see that, you know, we'll push the stem in and we have seconds hand moving. It cleared the minute hand, which is one of our concerns that, one of my concerns that I need to be concerned with. I'm going to try to get a good angle of seconds hand. And boy, they are close. They are close. So I might try to bend the seconds hand up just a little bit. Hopefully not too much. I'll hold the seconds pinion in place. Get under it and just give it a little nudge. And hopefully that's enough. And it's not. So let's do that again. Like I said, I'm going to come up under here. It's the around the phone part that's really fucking killing me. So I'm going to give it a little bigger nudge this time. I think that probably did it. So now it looks like I have the proper clearance. We're going to set the seconds hand in motion again. And we're clear. All right. So to case this movement, because we're ready to case, we have to leave it in running condition, running position, and we have to remove the stem. I'm going to gently put that on top of there. I am going to press down. This is going to be a rotten motherfucker. How am I going to do this? Press down on the deploy and take the stem out. Now I'm going to get my case. I probably should remove the bracelet. Yes, I should. It's got quick release. It's got quick release tabs on the spring bars. So I can do that. I'm going to take my case I am going to make sure there's no dust or smudges or fingerprints under the glass, because that would suck. Have to go back in and fix that. So off camera here, I am wiping it down with a lint-free cloth, which I find to be sometimes not really lint-free. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'm using the tried and true method of huffing on the glass. There's other ways people huff, but I'm not going to get into that. We're going to blow it out one more time. I see some smudges, but I believe they're on the outside. All right, so I'm going to build a little platform. And I am going to case this movement now. Just drop the case down straight over top. Give it a flip. So the movement's in place. I know the stem is already cut to the right length because it's the one that came out of this movement. I'm going to insert the stem until I get winding position. I'm going to look real quick to see. Everything appears to be lined up. I'm going to run the hands around. To make sure there's no clearance issues before I button the case up. And yeah, 5 after is good enough for me. And then the day changes over and we're good. So now, like I said, there's a lot of negative space in that movement, in that case. So they make these casing rings. Just going to gently slide that over. I'm going to screw down the crown. Make sure the rotor doesn't come into contact with the casing ring. I am going to grease my gasket. Look, everything's in the way. Look at this shit. Boom. You get out of the way. You come over here. You go there. So these things are made specifically to grease a gasket. And that's going to help make it water resistant. These are never going to be waterproof. Lay that down. There's a channel that needs to find its way into. And it did. I'm going to do a similar thing with the case back to make sure there's no dust or smudges on the inside of the case back. If there is, I can go back. I'm going to gently kind of start this into the threads. Now with the casing ring, sometimes it doesn't want to go all the way. I'm going to use my ball and we're going to tighten it down. And bibbity bobbity boop. And here we are. Now we got this beautiful case with the olive green dial. I'll put the bracelet back on, except, okay, we'll put the bracelet back on. This side goes this way. And with the quick release spring bars, this is a very easy job. right. Get this other one. We'll feed the spring bar in. I'm doing this completely by feel because I can't see a goddamn thing. All right. And you could tell I'm doing it by feel. There we go. Get in there. Get in there, you rotten bastard. Maybe I should actually try to look. All right, get in there. Get in there, quit playing. I said get in there. Tore a whole fucking watch down. Now I can't get the goddamn bracelet on. Everybody calm down. You get in there. Come on, quit playing. There we go. Get in there. This is the comedy portion of our video. Watch the guy that can tear down pocket watch movements, rebuild them. Can't get a freaking spring bar in. After I just talked about how easy it was. It's these gloves. These fucking gloves. All right. Take it away. Bink. And bink. It was the gloves. We'll blame it on the gloves. So now we're good. We'll get this back together. We will find the spring bar that goes into the clasp. Watch me have trouble with this. Like I said, watch me have trouble with this. God. Enough with this freaking video. If I could see, things would be so much better. Bink. Okay. So that's that. That's that. And there's your rebuilt watch. Simple as that. Until the end where I couldn't get the frickin' bracelet in. All right, so there it is. We went from this dial, which is beautiful, but flawed. Just like me. Beautiful, but flawed. And we're into this. Now I will monitor this overnight just to make sure the hands don't foul on each other, nothing happens, and then this one will be available for sale. All right, and there we go. Everything is tight and right. Everything's good. From the beautiful and now cleaned up Code 6 Customs Watch Central. I'll be doing a bench tour at some point. The dial goes in the garbage. Those hands are now marked questionable spares, and they'll go over here in that book. And we're good. So you've seen actual fails in front of your eyes. Mostly when trying to put the bracelet on this guy. But I've gone through a couple of the other fails that I'm not ashamed of. Shit happens. Sometimes there's fails. But all you got to do is have more successes than failures. And you're going to do pretty good in life. If you're interested in buying any of these mods or buying anything in the way of an antique mod pocket watch conversion, Instagram at C6C Watches. Appreciate everybody's support. Thank you once again.